Welcome to another crochet tutorial with Cozy Rosie UK. Today we're going to be making these fabulous crochet face scrubbies. These are a great eco replacement for the cotton pads that you can buy in the shops. They're almost, the little small ones are almost the same size as the ones that you can buy, but these ones are machine washable. You can literally just chuck them in the machine and they come out as new. They're a great gift as well. We've got a couple of people that are making them, that have put them together in little gift sets with their own homemade soaps and things like that. The label you can find on my blog, which is at cozyrosieuk.co.uk, and you can print that off on, I just use it on A4 cardstock, and then I pop it into one of these lovely little bags, and it makes a lovely little gift for all your friends and family as well. So let's find out what the materials are that we need to make this today. We're going to be needing some cotton or some cotton blend. I use this KnitCraft cotton blend plain that I get from Hobbycraft. It's a 50% cotton, 50% acrylic yarn, and it's really, really soft, which I think is really quite essential when you're using something on your face. You don't need much of it, probably about 20 to 30 meters at most. Use a 5mm crochet hook. Just a pair of scissors just to snip the work, and a darning needle to weave in all those ends at the end. So let's get started. To start by making a slip knot, you have your tail yarn in your left hand. Just bring a loop around with your right hand. There we go. Drop the working yarn behind and just bring that through that loop. And just pull through, and that creates your slip knot. You can pop that onto your hook. Pull on your working yarn to tighten. There we go. We're going to start by doing a chain 4. So yarn over the hook and just pull it through the loop on your hook and do that 4 times. 2, 3, and 4. We're then going to slip stitch into that first chain that we made. So insert the hook back at the beginning of that first chain and just through that top loop of your chain, yarn over, bring that loop through, and then bring it through the loop on your hook to create that slip stitch, sorry. If you give your work a little bit of a wiggle, you'll see that a hole appears in the middle of your work, which is the ring that we've just created. There's also a little hole just where you've done your slip stitch, and we don't want to work into that. We want to work into this hole here. We're also going to take our tail yarn around the outside of the ring as we work as well. So from here, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to go into making our first puff stitch. So a puff stitch is you yarn over the hook, you insert the hook into the middle of the ring, yarn over and bring a loop up, yarn over, insert the hook into the middle of that ring, yarn over to bring a loop up. And we do it for a third time. We yarn over the hook, insert it into the middle of that ring, yarn over to bring that loop up. We're then going to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on our hook. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7 loops on our hook. So yarn over and just pull through all 7 loops on your hook. Doesn't always go through all of them at the same time. It just makes it more fun. And once you're through all your loops, you just chain 1 to secure. So yarn over and pull through that final loop on your hook, and that will secure the puff stitch. So we're going to make 6 of these puff stitches all together. So let's make the second one. So yarn over the hook, insert your hook into the middle of that ring, yarn over to bring that loop up, yarn over the hook, insert it into the middle of the ring, yarn over to bring a loop up, and we're going to do that for a third time. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over to bring that loop up. Should have 7 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops on your hook, and then chain 1 to secure. So that's 2 puff stitches and 2 chain spaces. Let's move my tail yarn out of the way. So we're going to do number 3. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over to bring a loop up, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over to bring a loop up. For a third time, yarn over, insert that hook, yarn over and bring that loop up. So yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, last one there, on our hook, and then yarn over, pull through that last loop to do the chain 1. So we've already got 3 puff stitches there. We've got 3 more to do on this round. I'm going to move my tail yarn out of the way. There we go. So let's do number 4. Yarn over, insert that hook, yarn over to bring that loop up, yarn over, insert that hook, yarn over to bring that loop up. And for a third time, yarn over to bring that loop up, yarn over, pull through all 7 stitches, all 7 loops, sorry, on your hook, and then chain 1 to secure. So there's just 2 more stitches to do. So yarn, I'm going to leave you to do those, and I'll do mine very quickly. And I will meet you at the end of this round. There we go, that is number 6 done. So just double check, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 all done. Just going to pull on my tail yarn and that will close that ring, that little hole in the middle, so it doesn't look quite as unsightly. There we go. So to finish this round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first puff stitch that we made. So we're looking to put our hook into the chain we made to close that loop. So from this side, you'll see at the top, you've got your stitch there, and we're just going to pop the hook through that chain, yarn over and slip stitch. So go through the loop on the hook. And that's the end of round 1. So the start of round 2, let's go on to that one. So let's get started with round 2. In this round, we're going to increase into each of these chain spaces we created on the previous round. So to increase, we're going to be doing 2 of these puff stitches into each chain space around. The first thing we need to do is to get our hook into that right place. So we're going to insert the hook into that chain space next to the last slip stitch we made, yarn over and pull through to do another slip stitch, just so our hook is now directly into the middle of that chain space. Then we're going to chain 2, and we're ready to do the first of 2 puff stitches into this chain space. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over to bring that loop up, yarn over, insert that hook, yarn over to bring that loop up, and for a third time. So we've got all 7 loops on our hook, going to yarn over, pull through those 7 loops, and once again chain 1 to secure. So we're going to work into that same space we've just worked into. So yarn over hook, insert that hook once again, yarn over to bring that loop up, yarn over, insert your hook, bring that loop up, yarn over, insert the hook, bring that loop up, and then yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on your hook, and then just chain 1 to secure. So as you can see, we've got 2 puff stitches in that one chain space. So moving around to the third and fourth stitch, we're going to work into that next chain space in between those 2 puff stitches. So yarn over and just insert your hook into that next chain space, yarn over to bring a loop up, yarn over, insert your hook, bring that loop up, yarn over, insert your hook, bring that third loop up. So we've got 7 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on your hook and chain 1 to secure. I'm going to make a 4th puff stitch into that same chain space. Chain 1 to secure. So now we've got 4 in those first 2 chain spaces. We're going to put another 2 puff stitches into that next chain space. So we've now got 6 puff stitches in those first 3 that we made in round 1. We're going to make another 2 puff stitches into that next chain space. make a second one into that same chain space. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Yarn over, work into that next chain space. Two puff stitches into that chain space. And we have, that's 10, final puff space here. So this is where we had that chain 2 that we did at the very beginning. And it's worth kind of just shifting things around so you can see where you're inserting your hook. So there we go. It's going in there. Lovely. Yarn over, pull through those 7. Going back into that same stitch. Okay. Fab. So we should now have 12 puff stitches for round 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12. So we've doubled the number of puff stitches from 6 in round 1 to 12 in round 2. And once again, to close the round, we're just going to slip stitch into the top of that first puff stitch that we made just by popping the hook into that chain space, that chain that we made previously, yarn over, and then straight through that loop on your hook to finish round 2. So going into round 3, what we're going to be doing is increasing into every other stitch in the round, okay? So in this first chain space, we're going to place 1 puff stitch, and in the next chain space, we're going to place 2. So once again, we're going to start by slip stitching into that first chain space so that our hook is in the right place to start this round. We're then going to chain 2, and we're going to place our first puff stitch into this first chain space. So yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, insert the hook to draw that loop up, yarn over, insert the hook, draw that loop up. We should have 7 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on your hook and chain 1 to secure. In the next chain space, we're going to place 2 puff stitches into that chain space. So that's number 1. This is number 2. There we go. So we've got 1 puff stitch, 2 puff stitches, and then we're going to put 1 puff stitch into the next chain space. In the next chain space, there will be 2 puff stitches. So put a second one into that same chain space. Oop. So then we just need to put 1 into that next chain space. Two, 1, so this will have 2 puff stitches into this chain space. The next chain space just has 1. So we're going to put 2 into that next chain space. Into the same chain space, put a second one. to us all. There we go. Pop that back on my hook. So we've got 2 in that one, so we need to put 1 in that next chain space. And then into the next chain space, we're going to be putting 2. So that's 1. Put a second one into this chain space. So this chain space will have 2. No, I have 1 because there was 2 in the previous one. So this final chain space where we have that chain 2 as well, we just need to make sure we're working into the right point. We're going to place 2 puff stitches into this chain space. There we go. Do a quick count. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Fabulous. So to close this off, we're going to once again slip stitch into the top of that first puff stitch. Yarn over, just pull that through. I'm just going to do a chain 1 and then we can snip our working yarn, ready to weave in our ends. So once you've snipped, just pull that through. That creates a little knot there and just secures it. With your tail yarn, you can just pull that nice and tightly, thread the tail yarn onto your tapestry needle, and we're just going to weave around to bury this a little bit in amongst all these stitches here. It'll also help to tighten that central ring as well. Give it a little pull. It just means that those ends won't poke out when you pop them in the washing machine. Just give that a pull and it just closes that central hole. You can snip that end, that's nice and secure and won't come undone. Lovely. And then we just need to deal with this, weave this one in as well. So again, just thread it onto your tapestry needle. And we're going to do the power of 3 in the words of Davina. We're going to just weave in, so down, up and down. So 3 times and it will not come undone. And that's the joy of this. The idea is just don't go out the other side of it. So it shows on the working side really. That's 1, that's 2. And then number 3. There we go. Don't have to pull particularly tightly. We're just going to snip that off. There we go. That's all our ends buried. And we have 1 cotton face puff. Be very excited to see if you make your own ones of these. There is a pattern available on my Etsy shop for a slightly larger size as well. That's available over on my blog. I'll pop the link to the blog in my comments as well for you. And I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to see any examples that you make of these too. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can see all my latest pattern releases. See you again soon. Bye.